Welcome to episode 22 of Scenes from the Spectrum. The season is over.
Here's Ilyasova. Here's McConnell. Can he get it off? Yeah! And the Sixers win it! 7 seconds to play. Iverson against Gill. The crowd on its feet. Allen for the win! Yes!
Oh, Justin.
Pain.
It doesn't hit the same, that intro, when the Sixers lose, I will say. Still great, though.
Yeah, if you guys can't tell, I don't have much of a voice today.
You went to the game.
You
were there.
I did go to the game. There was a lot of boos from me, especially towards Embiid, but I think it's deserved.
So you were part of the crowd.
I was part of the crowd. I've booed a lot at Sixers games, especially last year at Tobias Harris. But
so you're not afraid to let the boos out. I respect it.
Absolutely not. If you're not,
and I think tonight you were definitely not alone. What did it really sound like when Embiid was missing shots and getting the boos? We could hear it on TV for sure.
It was pretty loud. I mean, I'd say in the middle of the first quarter, I could tell the vibes were just off in the whole stadium. I just didn't feel like it. It was a season opener kind of feel until the end of the fourth quarter. But pain. That's all I gotta say.
All right, we got producer Tony in the house with us. Shout out Tony. We're gonna politely ask him to hit that music because we do have some headlines. Unfortunately, we have some headlines.
Yes.
And they're really not. I don't really want to speak on them. Unfortunately, these headlines are the fact that the Sixers have started the season and they have not won a game. The Sixers are 0-2.
Tank for Wemby.
Yeah, we're tanking for Wemby. The losses to the Celtics and now to the Bucks. Let's look at some bright side. James Harden averaging 33 points a game. He just had 31 against the Bucks. He had 35 against the Celtics. He's been great with the passing, some good assist numbers as well, along with the rebounds. And then Joel Embiid, he was 0 of 6 in the second half tonight, or last night. And he did not score a single point, did not get to the free throw line once, declined to speak to the media after the game. And let's start with that. Just overall Embiid's performances through the first two games.
In the second game against the Bucks, you could really tell his body language was just not there. The effort wasn't there. He looked like he was just doing the motions, not putting the effort in, and that's exactly why he got some boost tonight. I mean, if you're not going to show the effort and you have poor body language, you're going to hear it. I didn't think his body language was too poor against the Celtics, but he did not have a game that he could be having. He still had 25 points on 50% field goal percentage against the Celtics, but obviously it's not a good game from Embiid. And against the Bucks, it was probably the worst game I've seen from Embiid.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I think that tonight with Embiid in his type of fashion where he just didn't look comfortable at any stage of the game. And that's something we don't really see from Joel. He's one of the guys where he's always gliding around the court. The defense reacts to him. He's running the offense, and the Sixers go with Embiid. And that hasn't been the case at all this season. Yeah, he had the points and the field goal percentage and the free throws against Boston, and he really didn't play well at all. And the turnovers were a big factor of that. And again, in that game too, he never really found his footing. He never really was able to take control of a game and really looked like he was in control. He was always playing catch up, and he was always reacting to the defense. That's just not the Joel Embiid we know.
And I've heard, plenty of times, even I've said this on Twitter, but Embiid is known for starting off the season slow, but not like this. I don't think I've ever seen this from him. What kind of summer did he have? Did he just take the entire summer off? He just does not look NBA ready in the slightest.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I think that he's come in unprepared for sure. Mentally, maybe more than physically. I think he's not mentally prepared for the season right now, and it's showing.
It'll take him a while, a few weeks, I believe. We got the Spurs coming up on, I believe, Saturday, so definitely should get a
Yeah,
win in there. We got a pretty easy few weeks coming up. I don't know the exact matchups that we have, but it's a great time to, get kinda mesh well with everybody and get into your rhythm and all that, and it'll be a perfect time for Embiid to do all that, but you gotta put the work in. You gotta show that you care because we definitely did not see that tonight until the last minute in the 4th quarter.
yeah, and what really propelled that minute run, or a couple minutes going into that run, was a lineup that Doc put out in the Bucks game. And I have it here. Yeah, it was Harden, DeAnthony Melton, Daniel House, Tobias Harris, and PJ Tucker at the 5. So they ran small ball. And Joel Embiid only had 6 minutes played in the 4th quarter. That's how unplayable he was. That's like a Matisse Thybulle stat line from last year, where he plays 6 minutes in the 4th quarter. That's Joel Embiid in the second game of the season against a Giannis-led Milwaukee Bucks team. That is the biggest red flag out of anything, and the fact that he only went to the free throw line 3 times, it's totally unacceptable.
Yeah, and I mean, Joel is a guy that can back down anybody. He can, use his strength against anybody, but you did not see that tonight. You didn't see it against Brook Lopez. It didn't even look like he was trying against Giannis. He got blocked so many times at the rim, especially from Brook Lopez, and I think once from Giannis. But man, it's so frustrating because you know how good he can play and the level he can get up to, and we just haven't seen it.
Yeah, Brook Lopez definitely had himself a night. He
Absolutely.
was 4 of 12 from 3. He shot
He
he shot
shot
12
a lot
shot
of
12
threes.
three-pointers. That's because he was left open. He's a good three-point shooter, and he was just left open, for virtually the entire game. And that was something that harmed the Sixers. And me, it's 17 points from Brook Lopez is something when you lose by 2, you're looking at the box score, you're saying, "How the heck did that happen?"
Yeah, I mean, you could say all you want about Embiid and this, but, obviously, it's a team game. It's one as much as it's on Embiid, it's on the team. I mean, even when Embiid was on the bench, Milwaukee gave you every opportunity to take the game. They weren't scoring, and we tie it up, and I tweeted out, we do not want to take the lead at all because there were so many chances that we could have taken the lead after tying it up, and we just didn't, and we were falling short every single time.
Yeah, and the offensive possessions weren't great at all, when we had chances, for sure. And there's so many times defensively when we did tie the game where we'd have a lapse and there would be an easy bucket. And you got to go back to the Wes Matthews 3, which Tobias Harris left his assignment and he shot it and made it.
Absolutely fell
And,
asleep.
and Grayson Allen from the wing, goes up to the top of the key, cuts back in, and Drew Holiday finds him with the easiest layup that Grayson Allen's ever had in his life. 2 plays right there, extremely preventable, deep into the 4th quarter of the game, and they're mental lapses. Those are plays that NBA level defenders should not be making, and that's what the Sixers did, and it's frightening, to say the least, because there was so much hype around this team. Defensively, not even talking about the offense. We know what the offense can do. We thought this would be a top 5 defensive team, and right now they're looking like the 30th. I mean, even though the game was low scoring, we have to say that the Bucks didn't look good. I gotta say it. The Bucks did
They
not look good.
didn't. They really didn't. Obviously, it was a low scoring game, but the Bucks, our defense did not look good at all tonight, and the Bucks could not capitalize on that at all. They couldn't get a run going. They didn't, like, Giannis couldn't do what he wanted to do every single possession, which he easily could have if he was playing to the top of his level. I thought he was going to reach over 30 points, 35, maybe even 40, and he didn't even reach 30.
Yeah, I mean, he had 21 points.
Yeah.
and he had 13 rebounds and 8 assists. So he was on triple-double watch, but he wasn't scoring. You look at a guy, Drew Holiday had 6 points. 6 points, by the way. 2 of 15 from the field, 0 of 6 from 3 as their starting point guard, and you lose the game. You
Yeah,
talk about the
he did
terrible
not have
shooting.
it.
Terrible shooting. Grayson Allen was 3 of 10. Brook Lopez 6 of 16. That was a good night from Brook Lopez. But again,
He has to shoot those threes that he's just wide
but
open.
even again, 6 of 16 is not good. But
Yeah.
he did play well, especially on the defensive end, 2 blocks. And Giannis 9 of 16. So yeah, he was 1 of 3 from 3. Grayson Allen was 2 of 6. Javon Carter played 22 minutes, scored 5 points. Bobby Portis shot 10 times and got 11 points. And like Wes Matthews was 3 of 6 with 8 points, and one of his made 2 3-pointers were in the last minute of the game. So you're looking at a team that did not shoot well at all, and I believe that they were shorthanded in this game, and in the fact that with no Chris Middleton, no Pat Connaughton, no Joe Ingles, and we didn't see Margin Beauchamp at all. And we didn't see some of their young guys that I expected to play. So I feel like we played them without, 4 players that they're going to have in their rotation come playoff time. When you look at Beauchamp and Pat Connaughton, Chris Middleton, and Joe Ingles, and we lost to that team. And it's terrible, really.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Giannis didn't play the whole game. There was plenty of minutes where Giannis is on the bench and you could have just taken over. You
Yeah.
could have just easily taken over because that lineup without Giannis is not very good. And the lineups that we were putting out there with Giannis on the bench was a lot better. We could not execute. And that's just been the theme of the past 2 games, just execution.
It was not a good game of basketball, for sure.
Absolutely.
It was bad on both ends. Both teams did not play well. The Sixers just happened to play worse. And the Sixers deserved to lose that game. They got off to a bad start, and there was too little too late at the end.
Yeah, even though there was a lot of things, a lot of negative things, there's a few good things to take away from the past 2 games, and 99% of that comes from James Harden.
For sure.
He scores 35 points in the first game against the Celtics and 31 against the Bucks. He's just finding his shot, and the shot selection is so big for him because he took a lot of mid-ranges tonight. He had 31 points on only 1 3 made.
Yeah, and I tweeted out his shot chart, and it is very much un-James Harden like.
Yeah.
The amount of X's, the red X's around where the perimeter is, and the green little circles in and around the free throw line is something that we really don't see from James Harden. He only had 3 made baskets that were right there in the paint. And you think about that, and he had only 1 made basket that was a 3-pointer. So you do the math on that, right? So he played one of the best games where he was able to adapt and take what the defense gave him, and he just took the game over because he knew that he was going to be able to score at one level or another, and it just happened to be the mid-range today. We go and play the Spurs, he might have open looks from 3, or he might be able to drive to the rim because they won't have great help defense. I think that James Harden is going to be able to score no matter what the defense gives him, because they're not going to be able to take away his shot around the rim, his mid-range, and his 3-point. There's going to be one of those open. The mid-range was open today. I don't think that the Spurs are going to look at this and say, yeah, let's give them the mid-range. They're going to make an adjustment to what the Bucks did defensively. And I think that James Harden has been the best player in the league through 2 games.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just the complete difference that he's made from last year to this year, a complete offseason completely changed his game.
Yeah.
His hamstring is back to, I would say his hamstring is back to 100%. His health is back to 100%. And now you're seeing this guy, this former MVP come back to life. And it's just exactly what you wanted to see. is him be fully healthy and him take over any game he wants to, and he's shown that. He's shown that.
Yeah, he's definitely gliding around the court, which is something that I really like. I think that he's very smooth, but there are some times where he takes possessions off defensively, and you can kind of tell
Mhm.
that he doesn't want to go full throttle the entire game just yet.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to get there. Let's talk about his backcourt mate, Tyrese Maxey, who had a lot of hype over the preseason. We fell victim to that trap for
Yeah.
sure. But again, not all of it's his fault. Some of it is. Not all of it is his fault because the offense just isn't flowing for a guy like Maxey right now.
Yeah, he's not, especially in the game versus Celtics. He was not getting the ball. He wasn't able to make it or find his own shot. He had a few open looks tonight, but wasn't able to get it down the basket. But his driving game is always going to be good, and he's especially shown that in the first two games.
Yeah. I think that, Maxey's going to be just fine once he finds his footing in the offense. But right now, he's not giving you much playmaking at all. And that happens because James Harden says, I'm the reason we're going to be back in this game. Give me the ball. That's happened the last two games. And there's really no fault to James Harden because Tyrese Maxey can't do that. If Tyrese Maxey said, give me the ball, let's get back into the game, we lose this by 15. So I think that has to do something because of the small sample size, and James Harden he's got to do it twice. In the fact that he's just not finding any type of way to turn defense into offense, and his defense has been bad, like really, really bad this year
Mhm.
so far. Now, it's not something I've been impressed with. It's honestly worse than it was last year. So I mean, again, 2 games. But those are the things that I've seen because as of right now, if he's just going to score, and he didn't make a 3-point shot tonight, so he's basically a Lou Will at that point.
Yeah.
Not much playmaking, no defense at all. He's going to score, and he was 0 for 3 from 3-point. There's nothing much value he brings to winning basketball with that. So there's some things that need to work out, with Tyrese.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's just the first two games. As much as we want to joke and say, "Oh, the season's over," let's
Yeah.
another second round exit. It's the first two games. Obviously, there's things that kind of scare you, but listen, it's Joel Embiid, runner-up MVP. He's going to be just fine, just fine. He'll return to that 29, 30 point per game scorer, and that paired with Harden's at least 21, 22 is all we need from him, and pair that together, and this team has a real chance to go to the finals. But obviously, we didn't see that in the first two games. We just need this team just needs time.
Yeah, there's not much of an offensive flow to this team. We're not free flowing. We're not with that space and pace type of style of basketball. When you look at the fact in the first half, the Bucks doubled the amount of 3-pointers attempts than the Sixers. They had 22. We had 11, and that just tells you how the offensive scheme was for these two teams. The Bucks were able to get out, run in transition. In the half court set, they were much quicker with the passes, and that led to a lot of open shots. And they made some of them, but they missed a lot. But they were able to shoot them, and they were open. And we didn't see that from the Sixers at all. They didn't make 1 3-pointer in the third quarter. And that is something that you're like, wow, how does something like that happen?
Yeah, that that lineup that you kind of talked about earlier, that lineup really surprised me. Not
Yeah,
offensively, defensively. That
yeah,
lineup locked in well, I think there was about 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. That
yeah.
lineup locked in defensively, was grabbing rebounds, getting steals, forcing turnovers, and that's not a lineup you expect that to come from, but I don't Doc is experimenting and it worked.
Yeah, Harden, Melton, House, Tobias, and Tucker. And when you go small with the 5, you have to take Maxey out and put in DeAnthony Melton for that defensive attributes that DeAnthony Melton has. So I like that lineup a lot actually, because you substitute Tyrese, you put in DeAnthony Melton, and obviously Daniel House comes in and it plays a 3. with Tobias and Tucker 4 and 5. So that's a lineup that I think we can build up on, especially when we need to give Tyrese and Joel a rest, and even when the game just needs a spark, and we say, "All right, James, give us a spark." And I think that's something we're gonna see more of, and it just comes down to Tucker because he's gonna play a lot of minutes if those are the lineups we're gonna be running.
Yeah, and speaking of Tucker, I really like what he's been doing the past 2
Yeah.
games. That's a positive thing on this team. He's shot a couple corner shots. He's made a few. He made one versus Celtics. He made one tonight. He finished with, I think, 6 points versus Boston, and maybe 3. I think it was just 3 tonight. But defensively, he looks really good. Offensive rebounds, he got 1 or 2 tonight. But all around, I'm very satisfied with what PJ Tucker is showing so far.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not be? The guy has been everything you've wanted. I mean, he's a dog. He's getting after it. He's creating havoc. He's getting blocks. He's getting steals, and he's leading a team. Like when you call a timeout, he's usually the first guy over to the bench, and he's yapping, whether it be good or bad. But at least he's communicating, and that's what I like about PJ Tucker because he's a great communicator when he has a team surrounding him. And his chemistry with Harden is phenomenal. Him in the pick and roll with James Harden was a great satisfactory for Harden because he was able to really see the court, especially because Tucker is not the guy to set a hard screen. When Harden and Tucker do a pick and roll, it's more of let's speed up the defense and try and get them into a bad decision. And that's what Harden does. And that's why there was a lot of mid-range open. And he got a lot of floaters in that time period because at the end of the third quarter, we had a lineup in which Joel was in it, but there was no Harden. And that's when we really got snagged it, like really, really bad. And then DeAnthony Melton kind of put us over the edge with a nice bucket at the end to give us some momentum. But that lineup was bad with Embiid on the court, and you had no other choice but to say, all right, Harden, we're going to give a lineup built just for you. And I think with Melton, House, Tobias, and PJ Tucker as the 4 other players on the court with Harden, that's a Harden-built team. And that's like a Houston Rocket team right there. So that's what I liked about that.
All right. Question for you.
Yes.
Does Harden score at least 25 points per game this year?
I think so. I think he's going to have to right now. And I think he's going to have to score 30 for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If we want to have if we want to be 500, I think he has to score 30 for the next couple weeks. So I think that 25, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, all in reason for James Harden.
And one more thing. I saw this a lot actually on the timeline, especially in the past week. Is the number 25 jersey cursed?
It is, and I tweeted that out today because Daniel House actually, after I tweeted that and he came out the game, he did a good job.
Yeah.
But there was a time where Daniel House, I think he missed 2 shots. There was a second chance opportunity. He tried to pass the Harden, and it went like 9 feet over his head. And that's when I was like, all right, no more 25s. That's it.
Yeah, I think the 25 is definitely cursed. Daniel House, you need to change your number as soon as possible.
I think a lot of us might have some Daniel House jerseys already, though.
Yeah.
Does Tony have a Daniel House jersey? Can we confirm?
He does not. He does not.
No, Tony does not. All right.
No way.
All right. Thank you.
All right, let's move on to more of the Celtics talk. It was a close game for a while. I mean, until the end. Jason Tatum went off, and it seemed like the Celtics were making every single circus shot, and it was very annoying as a viewer.
Yeah, the Celtics just had it. They were there to play the game. In that TD Garden Ruckus crowd, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they're superstars. Both of them showed up. Both superstars of the Sixers did not, and that's really the factor of that game. There's also some things.
Not both superstars, just one. James Harden showed up.
Yeah, I'm saying that both superstars didn't show up, as in one of them did. The other one did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Poor wording.
There you go. There you go.
But I wouldn't say that Jaylen Brown's more of a superstar, but in this context, he is for the Celtics. So I think that was the determining factor. Our bench sucked that game. Our bench sucked against the
Our
Bucks
bench
too.
had correct me if I'm wrong, 11 points.
Yeah, and 9 personal fouls.
9 fouls and 11 points. That's
Oh my
just
gosh. And
disgusting.
DeAnthony Melton was so bad defensively against the Celtics, it made me want to rip my guts out. But that's a different story for a different day. But my gosh, that Celtics game, man. Just the Embiid, like you look at his stat line, you're just like, how the hell did that happen?
That's what I looked at the stat line after the game and I was like, is this an old stat line or something? It did not seem like a real stat line because he looked way worse than
Yeah.
what the stat line showed.
Yeah, I don't understand anything of what that stat line entails.
He did have a
Um,
lot of turnovers.
yeah,
Lot of turnovers.
his rebounds are funny because he had a lot of rebounds tonight, and they're just
Yeah.
falling into his hands.
Tobias
Um,
also had a lot of rebounds tonight.
yeah, Tobias had 2 assists tonight. He had 0 against the Celtics. I had his under 2.5. So
There you go.
I knew what was happening. I also had over Grayson Allen points because I also knew that was happening. But again, the
I saw
Celtics.
you tweet that out.
Yeah, the Celtics. Yeah, I think Jason Tatum just is lights out. I mean, the guy can absolutely ball.
Is
Um,
is this potential to be the start of his MVP tour this year?
yeah, I think so. I think right now it's right now it's Luka and Tatum for sure, without a
Yeah.
doubt. We thought Embiid would be in there 2 games. Again, 2 games. It's 2 games. Got to keep telling yourself it is just 2 games.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Tatum and Luka, and honestly, I'm not mad at it. I would love to see Luka and Tatum try and go at it every night.
As
Uh,
much as I hate the Celtics, I am a Tatum fan because I am a Duke fan. And of course he is from Duke. So Jason Tatum has a special place in my heart.
you're a Duke fan, aren't you?
Yeah.
Playing tonight?
Huh?
Nothing. Uh,
What?
n- Justin, it's okay. It's okay. Go Phils. Um, James Harden had 35. He had 31. He's got 30 plus. Obviously, in both games, he won't be able to bring that total for ever.
Yeah.
But how long of a window do you think we're giving Embiid to ramp things back up?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. So
That's
what game are we thinking? I gotta pull up. I gotta pull up the
that's the time window of the patience I have. It's just,
so like 5-6 games.
yeah, 5-6 games.
I would
If
think
you could read the next few games out.
I would okay. So the Spurs at home, Pacers at
That should
home.
be our first win.
It should be first 2 wins. Like, if we don't beat the
Yeah.
Pacers, then the season might actually be over.
Ugh.
And then 2 at the Raptors. So you could
We'll
chalk up another Embiid.
We'll split one of the.
Yeah, and Embiid will suck in both of them in Toronto.
Are
And
they
then
both in
again at
Toronto?
the Bulls. Yeah, at the Bulls.
We can beat the Bulls.
That's the October 29th. So
That's the game that we
it's-
need to play Ferk.
yeah. So what's today's date?
Today's the 21st.
The 21st. Well, it's going to be the 21st in 1 minute for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the 29th is where Embiid, or the 31st, a Halloween night at the Wizards. If he's still struggling and it's very, very noticeable,
Scary.
it's scary for sure.
Scary. I mean, because look, on paper, this team should be way better, but they're not showing it on the court. And listen, it's the first 2 games. Take everything we're saying very lightly because
Sure.
this could completely change in a month. Things should be way different in a month. You could see D'Anthony Melton go crazy or Daniel House go crazy or
Yeah.
something. So just take whatever we say lightly because it's 2 games. It's just 2
Yeah,
games.
and the season is not over, guys. I know the title says it. It's just all fun and games because the season's not over. We've all seen the Snapchat screenshot of the Lions over the Eagles 7-0 when they scored the touchdown the opening drive, and it says the season is
The
over.
season is over.
That's kind of what we're at right now.
Yeah.
Because the Eagles are undefeated right now, right?
6-0.
Yeah, so they're 6-0. And when there's a Snapchat screenshot of their season being over after being down 7-0 to the Lions in week 1. Shout out D. But yeah, I think the Sixers have more than enough time to turn around. And Joel Embiid has more than enough time to turn around. And I think even after 2 weeks, if he shows just something of his prior self in one game, and he's still not himself by November, I'm still content as long as James Harden's producing and Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, all those guys are giving it their all. And if they're able to just play free and flow in the offense, there's going to be some fun basketball. But that's the thing. Other than a pocket of 5-6 minutes in the last game against the Bucks, it has not been fun basketball.
Yeah. We got 80 games left.
80 games.
Only to have been played. All right. When we're in the middle of January.
96 more games.
Yeah. When we're in the middle of January, we could be having a whole different conversation. But 80 games left. So
there's really not too much to talk about other than the bench is bad. And the fact that James Harden is God. Like, what else can we really talk about? We can talk all about Joel Embiid, but he's going to be back to MVP form in 3-4 weeks.
We could make this episode 5 hours long talking about all the things the Sixers did wrong, but we're not going to do that.
Tyrese Maxey had 5 personal fouls in the Celtics game. Just why? Like, there's no point. There should be no reason Tyrese Maxey has 5 fouls. Tyrese Maxey doesn't play good enough defense to even get 3 fouls in a game, much less 5.
I have a quick question for producer Tony.
All right.
If producer Tony would like to come on the mic.
I'm here.
Tony, did you watch basketball on the 19th? On the 19th?
Which would have been yesterday for us.
Yesterday for us?
Yeah.
Did you watch the Brooklyn Nets game?
Oh, come on, man. Don't do this.
Did you watch the Brooklyn Nets game?
I think
I watched it.
I think I might have seen a YouTube video about 2-3 weeks ago.
Whoa, hold on. What did you guys just say? What did you guys just There's 80 games left.
It made me smile. No, but
they have 81. They have 81 games.
I think you explicitly said that it's happening.
6 fouls? What do you have? 4 points?
Look, man.
5 rebounds in the first half and none in the second.
I never said
I
never said I liked it.
Listen. Before we end the episode, I just wanted to say anybody could have seen Ben Simmons and Nick Claxton not working. Except
I said that.
I didn't think they were dumb enough to actually do it.
Steve Nash doesn't see it.
We got to find out what episode I said that in.
We both 100%.
All right, I'm going to be on a mission tonight to find that, and I'm going to put it out on Twitter.
All right.
Because I saw my boy Jackson Frank, one of my favorite tweeters. He tweeted something similar, and I said in our group chat, I was like, dude, we've been saying this for the longest time. It will not work. Like you could say, yeah, there's 80 games. Look, there's 80 games left for Joel Embiid to become Joel Embiid, right? There's 80 games left for Tyrese Maxey to find his footing. There's 80 games left for this bench to figure out what the hell they're doing, right? There's 80 games where Ben Simmons and Nick Claxton have to figure out how they're going to coexist on a court together. That's very much different than what the Sixers have.
They shouldn't have to. They shouldn't be playing together. It's not them. That's Steve Nash.
Right. I said that. I said this before. You take Claxton out. Who plays the 5? It's Ben Simmons. What Ben Simmons? He cannot guard elite post players. What is his best attribute? It is perimeter
defense.
You can't have both. What's the point of having Ben Simmons? Because he can't do anything offensively. Not a damn thing offensively. And you look at him on the defense, you're going to take away the only thing that he's going to bring positive to your team. And that can only happen with Nick Claxton on the court.
Listen, if you guys want some real entertainment after Brooklyn Nets games.
Oh, the space.
Just go to Twitter. Just look at any Nets fan and just join their space because they're always having one. And it's always just entertainment. It's my nightly entertainment. It's absolutely my nightly entertainment. But I think that's all we have for today.
Yeah. Go
Um,
Sixers,
go
man.
Sixers.
Let's get a win against
Yeah,
Indiana.
let's get
Can
one
we do
win.
that?
Let's
Or
get one
who do we
win.
even play? The Spurs.
San
And
The
Antonio.
Spurs.
let's be 2-2. All right. Let's get
Yeah.
back to 500. I think we can do it. You think we got it, Justin? Like,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah.
It's San
No, I'm
Antonio.
kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah, we got it.
All right. Speaking
Yeah.
of easy schedules, bro, the Bucks have a crazy easy schedule too. So
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all we got for today. Thank you guys for watching. This is a short little episode. Just wanted to talk about the first 2 games. Make sure you follow our socials at SFTS Podcast and _ in the Instagram. And make sure to go follow our TikTok, everything. Leave a like, subscribe, leave a rating, a comment, whatever you have to do. But thank you
Everything will
guys.
be okay. Before we go, like Justin said, follow us on everything. Follow Justin at SixersJustin on Twitter. You can follow Tony. Can you pronounce your @ please, Tony?
It's BLK Tokage.
Thank you.
course.
Follow that.
Yep.
And make sure you're on phillysportstoday.net because we have some gas content out there. I'm pretty much
Absolutely.
dropping 2 articles a day.
Mhm.
I'm working my ass off over there. So Justin is gonna get back on the grind. Tony, if you want to write about Ben Simmons, you're free to. On the website.
Actually,
Why? I don't like
banned. I think
Simmons.
that's banned from our website.
Yeah,
I'm not even a
actually-
Ben Simmons fan. Okay,
bro,
all right.
it's okay to admit. It's okay to admit. We were all there once upon a time. There
All
will be
right.
no Ben Simmons articles.
Thank you
I think
guys.
that's it.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and you have the best rest of your day.
Let's go. Go Sixers.